again, identifying as a Marxist, what do you think about Julius Malema and the EFF? And also maybe to tie that a little bit to the Chinese model, which some people, the Chinese themselves sell themselves as Marxist-Leninists, and with Xi Jinping and everything, but a lot of people criticize their system and they say actually it's not Marxist. It looks more like state-led capitalism. Yeah. South Africa is going to have elections, I think, in May. I think it's probably going to be the most important elections on the continent. Malema has been on record saying stuff like they want to implement the Chinese model, yeah? And like the Chinese, when they are criticized about their democratic credentials, human rights and all that in Xinjiang with the Uyghurs, there's this statement that they've been making a lot that I've found to be really interesting. They said, no, this is democracy with Chinese characteristics. And so I had Malema talking, I think, 2-3 months ago.
It doesn't mean if it has failed in Germany, it will fail everywhere else. We're not Germans, we're South Africans. In China, they've got socialism with Chinese characteristics. What stops South Africans from having socialism with South African characteristics?
So anyway, what do you think about Malema, his Marxist orientation, and maybe even the upcoming elections in May?
I like Malema. I think at least his economic ideas, they align with what I believe in accordance to South Africa. Because as I said earlier, South Africans made the mistake of being told sorry, but never receiving back what had been stolen from them, and
you're never getting any repair.
Yeah, I've Malema.
Actually, I think that's where you are. We are talking about repair.
Yes, Malema has made that argument quite a lot. That the land that was taken from Africans has still not been returned to Africans, and I get why a lot of white South Africans may feel that this is a threat to their safety. But in the end of the day, white South Africans must also come to realize that they tend to refute this argument by saying, some of them tend to fight this argument by saying we are a rainbow nation. But Malema or the Africans are not the ones who made the divisions between races. So white South Africans don't get to proclaim that we're a rainbow nation. The division was made by whites. They came here, told us we are black, they are Europeans. What Malema is simply saying is that until the wounds have been properly healed, South Africa cannot move on. And they're right, they cannot move on. Because to this day, while the blacks do have political power, the capital still remains with the whites. The privileges of economic control still remains with the white. Industrial control still remains with the whites. Of course, once in a while you'll find...
But even if you say that, don't you think that it's not necessarily a zero-sum game? And there is some capital that could be had if, let's say, the ANC, which has been in power for like 30 years and delivered basically nothing, and if there is some capital that could come into play by the virtue of ANC being in power, and there will be good governance, not the high levels of corruption, state capture and all that, then that could somehow have a ripple effect, even among black South Africans, so that there could be more business to be done, there could be more economic dividends to be earned by the normal South African working class and even middle class. But the fact that ANC has messed up so much, then the only way to look at the system with the horrendous amount of inequality in South Africa is to simply focus on the extremes, like the white landowners and the whites who control the huge mines, the Oppenheimers, De Beers, and all that. It's very easy to focus on the extreme, that it's simply a black and white issue in South Africa. The point I'm trying to make is, if ANC were to be performing quite well, imagine ANC was having one of the best governance systems in Africa, compared, let's say, to the ruling party in Botswana, for instance. For Malema to make the argument about land and all that, maybe it will not be as pronounced, and he will not be as popular with many South Africans and even many Africans. But the fact that ANC has done so poorly, so dismally, then the only thing that makes sense is to focus on the land ownership and the ownership of capital and all that.